Hi everyone, welcome to my final presentation for Education 407 using Prezi. Today what I'm going to do is go through a couple slides, just kind of reviewing some of my favorite topics throughout this course and how I think they can be put into place in a classroom, their implications on learning and teaching and just the classroom in general. So saying that, let's get started. So first off, want to cover the idea the tool Screencast. So this is actually a screencast video. So what Screencast does, it is a tool that allows you to provide voiceovers for online presentations and turn them into YouTube videos. We use it in many projects throughout the class. It's really good for like a flipped classroom or more of an at-home learning environment. I find this tool so beneficial because I've always felt when I can hear the teacher explain something, I learn a lot better, a lot easier than just reading through a dry presentation with no voiceover. So here's a screencast I actually did. I think it was the first couple of weeks of class. I won't play it now, but I'll put a link below of this presentation so you can go through and watch all the videos if you are so inclined. So next up, we have Flipgrid. So Flipgrid we used in week 1 for our class introductions. So what this does, it allows students to make a video themselves talking about whatever, and they can respond to students or comment on students' videos by taking another video themselves talking about their comment. So this is good in a couple of ways. It allows students to practice their presentation skills without the intimidation of an in-class presentation, and overall it's a good social skill activity, especially for elementary kids. So after Flipgrid, I want to cover this idea we talked about in week 2 of divergent thinking. So it was actually in one of those YouTube videos we watch under Shift Happens. So the idea of divergent thinking is the ability to see lots of possible answers to a question and lots of possible questions. So it's this very thinking outside the box type of idea. So an example of this would be, how many uses can you think of for a paperclip, right? There's more than one answer. And I kind of took note, like many of our world's most successful people are examples of divergent thinkers, right? So our whole goal as educators is to prepare students for life. I think if we can teach them to be or think divergently, we can give them a bit of a head start to be successful. So after this, I actually want to talk about the technology book review we did kind of halfway through the semester. So my book was titled How Things Bite Back, Technology and Its Unintended Consequences. I kind of picked out one part of the book I thought was very relevant to this class, and that is technology can have revenge effects, which essentially are unintended consequences. So an example of this is, say, a school moves to an online platform in order to improve student learning, however they believe that's true. However, the lack of social interaction in the online platform actually leads to more negative consequences for the student. So this whole idea that this book talks about repeatedly is that technology is good to an extent. There's almost always a downside, or there can be downsides, whether we intend to or not. So here's actually, like I said, the video of my book review if you want to go back and watch it after this. So after this, I want to look at the idea of a flipped classroom. So we actually covered this, I believe, 2 weeks in class. So the idea behind this is it's traditional teaching style flipped. So rather than you doing a lecture in class and then sending the kids home to do homework, you flip it, right? So at home, the kids watch instructional videos and then use class time for activities such as discussions, projects. So and also note that tools such as Screencast and Flipgrid can be very good for this teaching style. I really like this because I like the idea of more time to practice in class, more interaction among peers, among students' peers. So the kind of idea is if they do have questions, then they can ask the teacher in class because they learned about it at home. So definitely has its pros and cons, but overall I like it. I know actually we read an article during this week about how actually a PE class implicates or uses flipped classroom. And what they do is you learn the rules at home, then you get the entire class to just play the sport. So in that sense, it's a very good idea. So after flipped classroom, I'm going to talk about Google My Maps. So in week 11 and 12, we use Google Maps, Google Earth to create and plan a trip. Then we did a screencast over it. So essentially what this does is it allows you to set destination and write notes about the place and what you will do there. So for example, I planned out like an ocean golf trip. Um, so I really like this because I think it'd be really good for a geography class, because it helps show students the connection between a name on a map and the actual place itself. I know when I was growing up, like you see all these random names of places, but have no idea what it actually means, what that city actually looks like. You just know the name and the location. So I think this is a good example for good tool for that. And here's just a little screenshot of the map or the trip I planned out. See, I started down here in Laverne and then kind of made my way up the coast, and then each destination had some notes underneath it, kind of like a travel itinerary, etc. So after Google Maps, we're going to head over to blogging. So beginning of the semester, we made a blog in order to post some of our reflections every 2 weeks about what we learned in class. I found this a really good way to reflect on class, obviously, but also when I was writing these blogs, I came up with many ways to incorporate different teaching strategies that I could incorporate in my classroom using technology eventually. So it's a good way to brainstorm also. We can incorporate blogging into the classrooms in a variety of ways. It can be used as a class reflection, a class news source to inform parents of what's going on, even in individual student reflection, so the teacher can kind of keep tabs with how the students are doing. And lastly, blogging also provides a great opportunity to learn from your classmates' ideas. So if you can comment on blogs, you can kind of learn how your classmates are processing the new learning. And so overall, I think it's a good tool. So, and here's just a kind of a picture of my week 13 reflection blog. As you can see, it's just kind of me reflecting over the past couple weeks. So now we are on to Google Canvas. So during week 4, we used Google Canvas to create a poster teaching kids about online etiquette. So this is a really good platform, in my opinion, to create like a rules poster for the classroom. It helps it's very flashy, grabs the kids' attention. So here's actually my poster right here about technology etiquette. So you can see you can kind of use different shapes and pictures to make it interesting for the kids. So after Google Canvas, I'm going to head over to some of my key takeaways in this class. So as a whole, I felt this class provided me with many tools and technology that I will incorporate into my future classroom. The incorporation of technology in the classroom can help get students' attention as well as reach kids of all different learning styles. Teaching styles that incorporate technologies such as flipped classroom show great potential in how we can improve the education system. With technology's growing presence in our world, it is essential for our kids to learn how to use it from a young age. So the idea that our whole goal as an educator to prepare our students for the life ahead of them. So that's kind of where that applies. And lastly, when incorporating technology into the classroom, we must avoid potential revenge effects. So my kind of big thing on this, why I brought it up, because my fear with too much technology, it takes away from student social interaction. So I think we have to have a good balance of technology and in-person learning. So this is all actually I have for the presentation. Thank you for the great semester, and I look forward to incorporating much of what I learned in this class, my classroom one day. Thanks.